Good day, everybody. This is John Hester here at Hester's Motorsports in Raton, New Mexico, showing off another Hester edition build. So this is going to be two things on this video. First and foremost, just going to go over real quick this simple Hester edition build. So this is the first Uforce 1000 XL kind of customize that we did, mainly focused in the suspension department and everything. So let's get right to it. So of course, you've probably seen our videos of the Uforce 1000 XL. The XL stands for 6-passenger dual bench. This one, we have 30-inch Moto ravaged tires. Let me get over here in the sun because we're getting late in the day here. I'm a bit behind. Crazy morning. So we have the 30-10-14 Moto Ravage, what we call the carnivore killer. So you have that awesome, well-rounded tread pattern like a Maxxis carnivore, which is a big staple in the industry, but you have a much better compound on it, a lot more sidewall bite and protection. The Maxxis carnivores are very prone for punctures. So this one is a 8-ply radial, which you might say, well, the carnivore is an 8-ply radial as well, but they're paper thin, microscopic thin plies. So yeah, you could have 8 plies as thin as a thin sheet of paper, or you could have thicker 8 plies. And this one here, I need to do a video to really compare the two, but it's very awesome tire. The Maxxis or EFX Moto Ravage versus the Maxxis Carnivore. But yeah, this is one of our best-selling all-around tires. Really good tire. And this is on Raceline. I think these are called a crunk wheel, which is, and this one is a bronze with a black simulated beadlock look. So this looks like a beadlock with the two-tone and everything, but it is not a beadlock wheel on this one. So got it all set up there with some black lugs and everything. Very nice look with that camo. I even think those bronze wheels would look good with the blue. I think that'd really make it pop. And of course, the biggest highlight is this is the very first 1000 XL on the planet with our Hester edition Elka shocks. So this was our final prototype setup. We already had shocks set up for the Uforce 1000, so I already had a good setup. Then I just had to make sure that I had to test and everything for the 1000 XL to make sure everything worked good and the spring rates were good, and we got it all set really good. We're gonna have a couple different setups for the Hester edition Elka shocks, and of course the biggest highlight with our suspension, of course, this is a much longer shock. So the Hester edition line of Elkas is my designs, my setups. I partnered with Elka and everything, and they do a fantastic job. So we have different valving in them. We have everything about them is completely different. So the whole shock body is all completely different than what you'd get from Elka for this same machine. Our lengths, our extended lengths, compressed lengths, everything is changed. So what do you get out of our shocks? You have an awesome 2-stage valving stack in here. It just makes it really plush on low speed situations, but as the speed increases and you drive faster, the sucker gets even more badass. So really awesome setup with a longer shock, with no bracketry. So there's no brackets or nothing on this, just pure shock. We fill the gap, we maximize the potential, how far down we can go and how far up we can go. We gain 2 inches of lift right out of the box and 3 inches of wheel travel. So now you have a 12-inch wheel travel Uforce 1000. Wheel travel is a part of the equation, but only a small part of the equation. Valving is the biggest key. So there's machines out there, you could have 20 inches of garbage valving and the machine ride like crap. There's a lot of machines out there. Honda Talent, terrible shocks. Anyways, but that just goes to show you can have 20 inches of wheel travel and a terrible ride, and the vehicle needs to be valved and stuff. Now, I'm not putting that down as specific, but that is a proven fact as far as that goes. So a correct valving in a shock package makes a world of difference. the benefit of the 3 inches of travel is a bigger improvement and an advancement on the suspension system. Another thing that we have on here is Super ATV forward offset wheels, because when we run 30s with this much wheel travel, we want to make sure that we do push the wheels out. Now, here's the thing. The Super ATV arched arms are not made to fit the 1000 XL. There is some differences. So we had to custom make some bushings in order to fit. So these arms will not fit an XL right out of the box. So we are trying to work and find a good solution that is duplicatable, so customers can get the arms from us and we can supply them with the correct bushings. But if you buy Super ATV A-arms for a 1000 XL, some parts have been changed and they will not fit correctly with reusing your stock bushings and all that other stuff. So you have to do a couple of things on there to make them fit, because they did beef up a few of the components on the 1000 XL over the regular 1000, which is understandable, which they did a good job because it's a bigger, heavier machine, more mass, more stress, stuff like that. So CFMoto's R&D, they did a good job with beefing up some of the components on that. So just a hint, as the time of this video, there isn't a full we can't reproduce this kit right now, but give some time. I'm going to work with Super ATV, tell them what they need to do to change, and they might come out with a whole new set of A-arms specific for the 1000 XL. So we'll figure that out down the road there. We have a very popular Super ATV flip-up shield, one of our favorite shields. It's an MR10 hard-coated Lexan. So Lexan is what bulletproof glass is made out of. Same stuff like on safety glasses, headlight lenses on trucks. It's very, very strong. It's like 275, 276 times stronger than glass. So it's very, very strong. And with a hard coating, it is quite scratch resistant. Now nothing is scratch proof, but how you take care of it makes a big difference. Tech tip, lemon pledge. We'll keep that sucker looking like that for years to come. Works really good. I want to do a video about that, trust me. Walking around the backside here, so just so you can see. Now, I've got pictures. You check out our Facebook page. I'm going to have some pictures on there, and with this all flexing out. So basically, with the bigger stroke and the big gain in travel, we have 30 set to where this 30 under full compression will kiss this right here. So you have, just from it sitting here, you have that much of up travel, and then we have a good 5 or 6 inches of down travel. So that wheel will drop down pretty good. So technically you could adjust your preload and gain even more height. Now we're sitting at 14 inches of ground clearance, which, if you ask me, this is a perfect setup, because when doing suspension, think trophy truck, not monster truck. You start cranking that preload down and you start pushing those arms down, what you're doing is you're reducing your down travel. So now whenever you go into a hole, this tire doesn't have the free-floating suspension to just drop in and out of that hole and eat it like butter. What happens is now this is pushed way down. That tire drops in the whole chassis tilts into that hole. Then all that weight, momentum, causes that sucker to hit the opposite side of the hole, bottom the suspension out, and jolt the chassis extremely hard. So that's when you start having this chassis going bam, 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 back and forth. You want them tires to just float up and down and just eat terrain, and the chassis not even move. Once again, think trophy truck, not monster truck. 14 inches of ground clearance on a side-by-side like this is plenty, but you can easily get more out of it. And like I said, keep in mind, when you start shoving stuff way down, yeah, it might look good, but whenever it comes to ride, no bueno. It's a whole different ball game. Now in the back here, because I don't know why manufacturers do this, but they tend to make A-arms to fit wheel offsets that they make. So the rear A-arms, like everything else out there, the rear A-arms are slightly shorter than the front A-arms, because think like an OEM manufacturer. They're putting a wider, deeper offset wheel from the manufacturer than the front. So they will make the front longer and the rear shorter. So to compensate this and make this thing, now we actually have it ever so slightly wider in the rear, but as you can tell, looking at that front wheel, is just barely past the body, and then looking at this, is just barely past the body ever so slightly more. We have a 2-inch wheel spacers in here. Now these are 4+3 offset wheels and a 2-inch spacer in the rear only. Doesn't need the wheel spacers to function and operate? No, you can run just fine. But just know that the tire will actually be ever so slightly inboard the bodywork. So if you don't want to get thrown, you know, a lot of mud and stuff thrown on you, then run with no spacers. And there you go. So we got the, we make these shocks in all 5 stages. The stage depends on how much personal tunability you want. Stage 1 is what we call a set it and forget it. Put it on, adjust your preload, go ride, that's it, you're done. You want all the clickers and piggyback reservoirs and all that, that's going to be the higher stages. I'll put in the comments down below a video to the Elka 5-stage breakdown, so that way you can see the breakdown of the 5 stages for you to choose from. And we will now, as of October 18th, 2022, as of today, we are going to start, I'm getting all the numbers and everything loaded up in our system, and we will start taking orders for the shocks in all 5 stages for the 1000 XL. Now we've been building the shocks for the 1000 for a good couple years now, and there's a lot of them out there, and it is amazing, absolutely amazing when you put on a high-grade suspension system that gains travel, gains more ground clearance, so it just, the capabilities are vastly improved, and sway, everything is vastly improved. So we actually have the sway bar off on this one, so it maximizes articulation, and the sucker has almost no body roll. It has less body roll by far versus the stock suspension with the sway bar. So when you're doing a proper valving and a proper setup, it drives like a high performance machine, and it does. And with this longer wheelbase, man, I'll tell you, this sucker just ate some chop for breakfast. I mean, it is absolutely amazing. A high-end suspension system, upgrading your shocks, by far the biggest performance upgrade that you will ever do to just about any side-by-side or ATV. We also added on the Super ATV tinted rear window on here, so you can see it's got some light tint to it. Very nice, scratch resistant as well. So just a nice basic build. We did the Elka shocks, Hester edition Elka shocks, so that's the biggest highlight of this. Then we did 30's, you know, different rims, arched arms, and then the front and rear window. So it's not like, oh my god, it's, you know, we went off the hook and created a $40,000 Uforce, you know. I mean, it's, and of course I'm going to have people ask, what does this cost? Well, as of right now in 2022, you know, fall of 2022, this was, I think, around 22 grand out the door. Now that of course includes freight setup, dock fee, wheels, tires, shocks, arms, windshields, labor, the whole thing. When I say out the door, so outdoors, out the door. So if you came in cash, that's what it would have walked out for. So, you know, MSRP doesn't show what the true out the door price is. You're always going to have some freight setup and dock fee from the dealer. Dealers charge different prices. You know, different dealers will charge different prices, but wanted to go over this and kind of show you guys what it looks like I mean, just a few things, it really improves the machine. Really makes it look so much better, beefier, so much more usable ground clearance, better tire, everything. Now, here's another thing. How this is with stock clutching. I mean, stock clutching on these are very good, if you ask me. These 1000 XLs, they did a fantastic job on the clutching, and it's smooth, and it has 2 power modes. And you know, if you want to be really smooth, you know, you put it in normal mode, because that's going to back off your throttle throw on your throttle, so that way it takes more throttle to do the same thing, so you can be much more docile with the throttle. So you put it in normal mode, and it's really smooth power delivery and takeoff and everything, but you still have plenty on tap. Once you put it into work mode, aka full power mode, then the throttle response is improved, it's sharpened up, and the throttle bodies, because it's a fly-by-wire throttle system, so as you push the throttle bodies will open faster, delivering that higher power much quicker. So that's part of where the throttle response will come into play. And as an idea, I just wanted to see, and in low range on asphalt, I lit those tires up and just spun them like nothing. Stock clutch. Now, if you wanted to hit harder, that's where clutching is going to come into play. But it does exceptionally well with 30s on stock clutch. It has a lot of power and a lot of torque out of this engine, you know, basically 80 horsepower on this engine, and that's plenty of power to turn 30s without question. They do a very good job. Good size axles, good size drive lines, everything like that. I've had 1000s running 30s for years, thousands of miles, no issues. They do a good job of beefing parts up. So I want to thank you all for watching. Please click that subscribe button, hit that notification bell if you haven't already. There's so much more that I want to do to this channel throughout the future. I'm really trying to get that done. Sorry if it's a bit windy today. It is a fall day. We woke up and all the grass had frost on it and everything today, so you know, it is the middle of October, and we're getting about time for snow up here in the Rocky Mountains of northeastern New Mexico. A lot of people here in New Mexico and think it's a desert. I mean, look at that. That's our desert. We're at about 7,000 foot altitude, and I can tell you, man, this sucker rips at 7,000 foot altitude. Does just fine. Thank you all for watching. God bless. You need to order any wheels or tires or to get our exclusive Hester Edition Elkas, there's only one place to get them, and they're right here at Hester's Motorsports in Raton, New Mexico. You give a call at 575-445-3558 Tuesday through Saturday, and you get yourself some Hester Edition Elkas for your ride. We keep expanding more and more vehicles to our exclusive Hester Edition Elka line. Elka loves what we do to our setups. They absolutely love our setups, and they keep requesting more and more machines. Trying to get my hands on some other machines as well. We already got Honda Pioneers, we got Yamaha X2s, X4s, I mean all the Kawasaki's, almost just about all the CFMotos. We got in R&D the Uforce 600, the C4 600s, the C4 400, 500s in both Gen 1 and Gen 2. We have a tremendous amount. The new Z-Force 950 EXs, HOEXs, the 64-inch wide ones. We've got specs in on that. We're just going crazy. I'm trying to get my hands on a couple Polaris Ranger 1000s. I want a 1000 and a 1000 Crew. And if I can get my hands on one of those, then I can set up our shocks to max potential on that. Had a few of the Can-Am Defenders come through, and you know, we're working on doing more of those as well. Done several Can-Am Defenders, Can-Am Mavericks, the Maverick R's. You know, we've done lots on the Maverick R's, all that good stuff. So thank you all for watching. God bless, and have yourself an awesome fall day wherever you are.